Welcome to Studio 2.
Thank you.
And what brings you here this time?
Well, at this point, we're going through all the old music from the very beginning. The very first thing we ever did, long before we came to Abbey Road, we recorded That'll Be the Day in a studio in Liverpool. It was just a place you go in and go straight onto disc, and we paid for it ourselves. And we're compiling an album which could be around 6 CDs, or 3 doubles, and it's going really from A to Z, or Z if you show it in America, and we're compiling all that stuff to go along with the TV program of the anthology of the Beatles.
So is this resurrecting the actual old records themselves?
It is. We're trying to put on more or less something from every period, whatever, and all the stuff that's never been heard before. And in cases like now, what we've done is we've sifted through the early tapes, but you see a lot of the early tapes which were done in mono, the only tapes remaining are the actual masters. All the outtakes were thrown away long before people thought we were any good. And now we're up to the 4-track tapes. The 4 tracks started with, what was it? This Boy and I Want to Hold Your Hand. And then Can't Buy Me Love, we're up to. Can't Buy Me Love, which was February 1964. And the thing about those, they've got all the outtakes on them. So what we're trying to do is compile all the songs that people know from Love Me Do to the End of Abbey Road. If any of those songs are included, which many of them will be, they'll all be completely different take or a different version to the one that's normally been available.
With embarrassments and all, or not?
Yeah, well, I mean, we keep hearing of funny little bits between the takes, you know. I mean, there's just a bit there where it breaks down, Can't Buy Me Love breaks down, and John just says, I dropped me plectrum. You know, it's so funny. So, I mean, all those little bits, we'll probably compile a segment just of, you know, the nonsense stuff.
And of all the studios you've gone to listen to them, you came to Abbey Road.
Well, that's, yeah, I mean, there's an obvious reason for that, and that is because the tapes are locked in a security vault in Abbey Road. And so it makes sense, obviously, to listen to them here than go carting them all around the city. It's a great room because from the very first session we did here, which was before Ringo was in the band, we were here in, I think he said it's June 1962. And we set up right here where the end of that piano is, and right in this area, and we recorded Love Me Do with Pete Best. Now that version we're using on here because there's been the version when we came back, I think in October of that year, 62. We got Ringo in the band, but George Martin didn't know about Ringo, and he'd hired a session drummer. That's the famous story, is that he put out the single without Ringo playing on it, and then all the versions that came out after that, like the album, Ringo's playing on it. So now we're going to put out the version with Pete Best on it because it never did come out.
Excellent. What do you remember about first coming in this building or this room, and any special observations?
Well, it was pretty awesome coming in the building as a whole, because it was only the second time I think we'd been in a proper recording studio. In those days there were only a few record companies anyway, and Decca and Pi and EMI, I think. And for us, we'd been in Decca studio, we did an audition, which is also going to be on the anthology. But those Decca tapes, we got turned down, and they instead hired Brian Poole and the Tremolos. That's the famous story. And somebody said to Brian Epstein, guitar groups are on the way out, Mr. Epstein, and that was probably the biggest error in the music history. So, but coming in was pretty awesome, but George Martin kind of made things as easy as possible for us. I just remember I had a black eye. We took a photograph there with all the guitars stacked up, I had a black eye. And that must have been the second trip back, because we just got Ringo in, and I got the black eye because people were shouting about get Ringo out, Pete Best, Ringo never, Pete Best forever. And anyway, and also that we did so many takes of Love Me Do with these. In those days, we never had light gauge strings, and used to have to really high action and very heavy gauge strings, and it was after take 20, it was pretty hard on the fingers.
Fantastic. And what are you doing now? What is you mentioned earlier that there's a take with John on. Can you tell me about that?
Well, we're going to go through from the very first sessions right through till the end of our career, but actually, the end of the Beatles' career. But just earlier this year, and at February last year, that's 1994, we recorded 2 new songs. They were songs that John had written. One of them is called Free as a Bird, and they were just on cassette, and him playing the piano and singing the song. Free as a Bird wasn't complete. He never had written or finished writing the bridge section to it. And Paul and I we wrote the lyrics to the middle part, and we routined the song and actually changed a chord or two here and there. More or less the stuff you'd do anyway with each other in the earlier days. And we put down a track, made a totally new record, and put John back into it, his voice singing. We've just done that again with another song called Real Love. So there's 2 brand new songs, which are complete Beatles. We did consider doing something just the 3 of us, but this way it's better, because then it is the 4 of us, it's the complete Beatles. And there he is, Mr. Lennon. Yeah.
That's lovely. Are you pleased with it? Are you happy?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the thing that's the most pleasing is that we're all friendly again. I mean, we had some turbulent years in the meantime, but it's just fun to have your old friends back again.
Fantastic.
Great,
George,
thank you.
very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Almost everybody, I think, knows that George Harrison was one of the Beatles. But a lot of people don't know that George Harrison is an experienced movie producer as well. A few years ago, he produced a Monty Python movie called The Life of Brian. And there he is. He's got a new movie coming out. A little bit later, we're going to talk with George Harrison about that, live by satellite from London. He's with us. George, good morning, or good afternoon, I guess, over there.
Good morning, America. Good morning, David.
Nice to have you with us, George. Good to have you with us, and we'll look forward to talking with you in just a little while.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right now, live, we are going to someone who represents a slightly different kind of music, at least in our memory. And we're going live by satellite to London at 17 before 9. The man I'm talking about is George Harrison. He is a man of so many talents, a former Beatle, as you all know. He's a fine musician, composer, writer, and in recent years, he has also become a movie producer of some note. He also lives a rather private life now. He rarely grants interviews, and this morning we're delighted to have George Harrison with us from London Live. George, it's a pleasure meeting you, and it's nice to have you with us.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Could you hear any of that music, that picking you just heard? How did it sound?
I did. Yeah, Blue Ridge Mountains. It sounded like you were interviewing pigs. Is that right?
You're close.
Something about pigs.
You got it. George, let's talk about the movie Time Bandits, which I had the pleasure of seeing yesterday. It hasn't been released yet. As you know, it's going to be released very soon in the States. You wrote the score. You also produced it. How would you describe it, briefly? How would you describe the movie? Because it is unusual.
Yeah, that's it. It's quite unusual. I think it's a sort of good film for children mainly, but it's also quite good for adults. It's a bit crazy, you know, being a spin-off of the Monty Python group. That is, it was written by Michael Palin and Terry Gilliam. It has Michael Palin and John Cleese in it. So it has a little bit of, you know, the usual sort of Monty Python sort of stuff, but at the same time, it's quite a thriller, you know, the way it looks. The film is really well shot. It's Terry Gilliam is the director. He's the American one in Monty Python. And he's the one who normally does the animation. So he's done the special effects and directed the film.
George, let me interrupt you. What I might do is we might show our viewers here a little bit of the movie so they'll have an idea what you're talking about.
That's a good idea.
What we're about to see are the traveling bandits. Now, these are bandits. They go from one place in time to another by sort of dropping through these holes in space, right?
Yeah, well, if I would just tell the audience briefly, the idea is that the Supreme Being, when he was making creation, well, everything that got done late on a Friday afternoon, you know, had a few holes in it. So he had these little people working down in the small shrubs department, and they were patching up the holes in everything. And they ran away with the map that shows all the holes in the space and time, and they're trying to escape from the Supreme Being, but at the same time, Evil, who's always not far behind, is trying to catch them because he'd like the map for his own use. So take it away.
All right, good description. Now let's look. The little people, and what they have done is busted into a little boy's bedroom, and now they're trying to find a way out. They need to get their way out and get back into space. Watch this from Time Bandits, produced by George Harrison. Watch. Now, they didn't, George, we just saw them as you weren't able to see it, but just as they came, they went into space. People should know that they land in Napoleon's time. Napoleon's time. Right?
Yeah, they just keep going, you know, from one thing into the next. It's quite a good idea, actually. Wish I'd thought of it.
Yeah, but you're involved. You've made it happen. We're going to break for a commercial, George, and then we'll come back and talk some more.
Okay.
Back.
Well, they treated you like a dog.
10 minutes before 9 right now. We're back with George Harrison live from London. The music you just heard is from his newest album. It's called Somewhere in England. Hi, George. Again, we're back on live right now. You've been involved with the Monty Python, the group, the gang, for quite some time now. You said one time that you got involved after the Beatles because it helped you to kind of bridge the years when there wasn't much happening. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, in the late 60s, when Monty Python first came on television in the UK, well, there was, you know, what the Beatles were representing or were trying to, you know, we were trying to be something new. We're trying to, you know, give some alternatives, and likewise in the comedy situation, everything was pretty boring, I thought. It was pretty much the same for years and years, and then Python came along with this totally off-the-wall type of humor, and you know, they were sort of laughing about most of the things which should be laughed about, I think. You know, the government and just the way we all are. I mean, the usual things. And they didn't really leave much unturned, many stones unturned, really, in the humor. And it just filled in that period, you know, between, like, going into the 70s. It got a bit depressing, I think, after the 60s. And it's good to have a laugh, you know. It's good if there is something to keep you smiling.
George, I would imagine there's, at least I sense, that there's always been kind of a pressure on you and Paul and Ringo to keep producing, to keep turning things out, and particularly perhaps you and Paul. How has that pressure affected you over the last, say, 10 years?
Well, I don't think there's that much pressure to produce. I think you're talking about records or music. There's not too much pressure in order to do that, but at the same time, it's what we do, it's what we have done in the past, and you know, everybody needs to make a living or do something just to keep themselves busy, and so might as well continue doing the thing that we learned. You know, we sort of did our apprenticeship. The thing that's, I think the pressure is coming now from the other way, because the record business as a whole, it's, you know, everybody's in the record business, everybody and their grannies, you know, they're all songwriters, everybody has million-dollar record deals to the point where the record business is so saturated that a sort of rot set in, actually, with the radio, and nobody knows what people want, or some people think they know what the public want, so it's got this great confusion. So I think the most difficult thing is just to try and continue and try to do what comes natural and hope that somehow it still fits into the picture.
Mm-hmm. George, you wrote a beautiful song after John Lennon died all those years ago, and one of the couplets in it, you wrote, "Living with good and bad, I always looked up to you," unquote. How did he influence, John influence you, and how did you influence him, do you think, through the years?
Well, it would be pretty hard to say just in a minute or so, but, you know, we grew up together. We, from the age of maybe I was about 13 when I first met him. He was a tough guy, you know, he wanted to do something different, and likewise so did I and Paul. And so we gained strength from each other, really, like that. He was always the noisy one, or the, you know, the cheeky one, the pushy one. He'd be a bit more outspoken than the others. And at the same time, I think that was important. You know, we had all those elements, John being, you know, a bit upmarket with the intellectuals, and Paul being cute, and, you know, Ringo being cuddly, and I was the quiet one. So, I mean, it all sort of worked out. But, you know, it would be difficult to say. Hello? What was that? Beep, beep.
I don't know. You're okay, I think.
Something beeping in my headphone. But it would be hard to say just in a minute, you know, because we grew up together. We spent many, many years together, and...
but a lot of love and respect.
Yeah.
Both.
So, I mean, the song really, it helps having music. Hello, somebody's on the telephone here in my ear.
Whoever's in George's ear, get out of George's ear. All right, George, our time is up anyway, so we'll let them talk in your ear if they want to. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Right.
Good luck with the movie. Good luck with Time Bandits.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, George.
Okay, thank you.
We will be back in just a minute. It's almost 4 minutes before 9. Back after these words from Lipton. George Harrison from London.